And I don't mean maybe. Life, he says, has been throwing me some curves. And they're very mean curves. What am I going to do about it? And then I met a woman, 35 years old. She told me that that was her age. Just why she told me, I don't know. She said, I have had so many hard knocks that I'm dizzy from them. I am actually reeling because of these blows. What am I going to do about it? Now, looking out at a great number of people on the basis of the law of averages, I know that out in front right here, there are many who could say the same thing to one degree of emphasis or another. And you might say, what are you going to do about it? Well, here's one thing that you can do. You don't let it get you down. You go and stand and look into a mirror at what you see in that mirror. And then you say this to that image in the mirror. Listen. You are greater than anything that can ever happen to you. You go home today and do that, and then add to that, I, the Lord your God, am with you. But there's no gainsaying the fact that life can be, and often is, very difficult. But it's not impossible. And you can handle it. You can cope with it. And I'd like to give you 11 words, magic words. In addition to looking at the mirror and making that comment, say these words that come from a book written by a man who really had it tough. His name was Job. Job's trials and troubles are proverbial. Here are the 11 words. If you return to the Almighty, you will be built up. Now, isn't that something? That's right out of the book. You know, this is quite a book. Anything you need is in that book. And there's some people, believe it or not, who never read this book. Where do they get off with that? Where do they figure they get their wisdom? Maybe that's why their lives are so messed up. If you return to the Almighty, you will be built up. Up to what? Well, you'll become smart. You'll get wise. You'll realize that you can't fight life. It's too big for you. It'll beat you down. So the thing to do is to cooperate with life. Get in harmony with it. Get on the same wavelength with it. And then it will work for you rather than against you. Now it says here in the first part of the Bible, when the Lord created the world, that every one of the 7 days that he created, he took a look at it and he saw that it was good. And when he created man, human life, he saw that it was good. The whole world was made good. Why, the Lord piled up such resources in this world for mankind that it seemed like he never in the world could exhaust them. When the early pioneers came to this country, in the West, they found grass that grew 7, 8 feet high. And when the wind caressed it, it undulated like the waves of the sea. And the great white wagons that traversed it were called prairie schooners. And this land was rich away down deep, black soil, out of which could come that which would feed the world forever. And the geese and the ducks were so numerous that they say it would take 2 to 3 hours for a flock to pass a given point, and that they were so thick that they would blot out the sun. Riches which he laid up for mankind. Well, now the same provision is made for individuals. You don't need to have it so hard as you make it. If you cooperate with life, don't fight it. Not long ago, I made a speech to a company called the Ralston Purina Company in St. Louis. 5,000 of their salesmen for a national sales convention of this great company. And this company was established by a man whom I knew at one time. His name was William H. Danforth. He was the founder, president, chairman of the board, and a great industrialist. He lived to be very old. When he was a young boy, he was very sickly. Later on, he wrote a book called I Dare You. It's a very small book. I read it once every year. I have read it ever since he gave it to me 40 years ago, which means I've read it 40 times. This sickly boy in school told a teacher one time that life was too tough, that he understood that he wouldn't live very long. And the teacher said, remain after school. You've all been told to remain after school. And he was scared, and the teacher sat in the chair, and he said, now, Bill, stand up there in front of me. Draw yourself up to your full height. I know you think you are weak and skinny and sickly and you're going to die. But I want you to say after me, I am a child of God. God has given me a good body which I haven't developed. God has given me a good mind. God has put fresh air and pure water and wholesome food into the world for me. And I hereby dare you to become the healthiest boy in this school, the toughest physically. I dare you to live longer than any one of them. Now, it's a strange thing to say to a little boy. But years later, when he was about 84, I had lunch with him in the old Jefferson Hotel in St. Louis. There were half dozen men. And I made the mistake of saying to him, Mr. Danforth, how are you all this vigorous and vital at 84.